Hey guys, welcome back to another quick video here. Driving in the on my way to work. It's a Friday, and I thought I'd do a thoughts on going digital video, sharing my thoughts on something that it's kind of like betrayal within the community here. I know most people here that we participate in YouTube. Our big thing is we're collectors, and we like having our physical games collection, and certainly I do, and I prefer it that way actually. But as the years have moved on or gone by, I think I am leaning towards a little bit more towards the digital purchasing of games, and this is something that I've been doing already, thanks to things like PlayStation Plus and Xbox Gold. They give you free games and EA Access. So those types of services have eased my way into thinking of going digital. And I've done I have purchased a couple of games that other people would have not done that. Games that have a physical version, but I decided not to do it on purpose. For example, Animal Crossing: A New Leaf on the Nintendo 3DS. I got that game day one on as a digital copy because I knew I was gonna be playing that game pretty frequently, and having on the 3DS at all times is just very convenient. You don't have to swap the cartridges and whatnot, and that ended up working in a very good way. I put over 100 hours in that game. It's one of my most. It is my most played 3DS game. So the fact that the game was available on my 3DS at all times was a pretty helpful thing. Similarly, when Pokemon X came out, I was feeling the itch to play a Pokemon game, and I figured, why not buy it digital? And I did the same thing. Same deal with Battlefield 4, which is a franchise that I really enjoy. I purchased that digitally on the PlayStation 4 because I knew I was going to play it pretty frequently, and that ended up working like a charm because that's my most played PlayStation 4 game. So the idea of doing this more often is pretty, I guess, enticing. Especially one of the reasons that it's driving me towards thinking. And when I say going digital, I don't mean going 100% digital. I don't think I'm ready to make that step, but I'm just saying gradually, waiting for sales on the PSN store or Xbox Live store, and purchase certain games as a digital format. So I'm not saying going 100% digital, but just slowly easing my way into it. And one of the, determinant factors is also real estate. I have never done a game room tour. I don't have a room. I don't have a game room. That's one of the things. It's kind of like a loft area on the second floor or of the house where we live, and it's a pretty limited space. And to be completely honest, it's getting to the point where it's almost full. So there's two things that I can do, which is start, selling or getting rid of some of my collection, which I don't really like the idea of doing that, but it's a possibility. And or start limiting my purchases, which is something that I did, and I'm pretty sure you guys noticed that. For example, I'm not doing a monthly pickups video now. I'm doing a bi-monthly pickups video. So, and it's not like my bi-monthly pickups video. It's twice as long as my regular old monthly pickups videos. It's just as long. It has just as much content, meaning that I cut my purchases in half. And this is something that I'm okay with. If you guys trace my videos all the way back to the PS3 days, I was just buying almost any game for the PlayStation 3, and I have no regrets. I had a lot of fun doing that. When the PlayStation 3 started dying down, it was really fun going to GameStop and just purchasing games for dirt cheap. Best Buy, they were liquidating their PS3 games, everything that was last gen. Wii, PlayStation 3. And that's how my PlayStation 3 collection got to be up to 200 games, just by taking advantage of those, sales at the end of the PlayStation 3 life cycle. And that was fun and all, but I don't foresee myself doing that with the PS4. I can't promise I won't do it, but it's always tempting and just fun buying games that are cheap, not just because just to buy them as an impulse purchase, but because I legitimately enjoy games that are not the best games. I don't know if that makes any sense. Like I played a lot of PlayStation 3 games that I would have not bought at full price, $60. But years later down the road, when I bought them used for like $9 or $7, they're fun titles that I can, one of my favorite things is to look at my big PlayStation 3 collection and just choose any random title. It doesn't have to be a AAA game. It doesn't have to be like a Hollywood-esque production game like the BioShock games or an Assassin's Creed game. I really enjoy just looking at my library and saying, hey, I feel like playing this crappy game. Let's do it. Why not? And I really like doing that. But I'm limiting my purchases. And like I said, I pretty much cut in half my purchases. Doing the bi-monthly pickup videos. That's one of the indicators right there. So I do have to limit myself because of space constraints. So that's always tough. But again, I really enjoy digital. The freedom you have of downloading the games and access the games at all times. And one of the things that I really enjoy, for example, like with PlayStation Plus, they have like 3 or 4 PS4 games monthly, downloadable. And what I typically do is I download all of them, and sometimes I just feel like trying them out, not necessarily playing them to beat the games, but just try them out for like an hour or 2 or 2 or 3 hours, and if the game grips me, then I keep playing it. If not, that's it. I'll just delete it. And I don't know. I just like having that liberty of having the games on my hard drive. And obviously, one of the downsides is that years from now, the licenses may expire. The games may not be able to be re-downloadable. You may not be able to re-download the games, which is something, one of the big negatives, obviously. But the way I look at it is, and I was talking to my friend, maybe trimming down my PlayStation 3 collection. He's like, man, you're not gonna get, you're gonna get like $5 per game if you're even lucky, for the common titles, maybe not even that. But the way I look at it is, if I already beat the game and I already enjoyed those games, I already have my money's worth. For example, Uncharted 1 or Uncharted 2 or Uncharted 3, those are 3 games that I already beat on the PlayStation 3. And if I sell them, and let's say I don't get anything, let's say I just get like $1 or $2 if I sell them at a garage sale or something, that's money that I think it was well spent, because I played those games, I beat those games, I have impressions videos on them, and the memory is, it may not be super fresh in my memory, but I already paid and for the entertainment. It's kind of like going to the movies, when you go to the movies, you pay your movie ticket, $15, whatever it is, and once you see the movie, that's it. You paid for the entertainment, you paid for the fact that you see the movie, and that's kind of one of the ways that I look at it. Now the problem becomes if you start selling your collection and you have not played the games, then I think it becomes a little bit of an issue, because that means you have purchased a game and you have not enjoyed it to the fullest. So that's why I'm hesitant, because I do have a huge backlog of games, whether it's PS3, PS4, Nintendo Wii. I do have to explore my backlog, and time is always an issue. But again, it's not, if I have to, get rid of some games that I already played, I think I'm okay with that. And we live in a world where, digital games or re-releases are so common, especially for big games. For example, the Uncharted trilogy on the PS3, you can get that on the PS4 now. It's remastered, and I'm sure these won't be the last, hooray of the Uncharted games. 10 years from now, when the PS5 is out or the PS6 is out, I can guarantee you those games will be able to, you'll be able to re-download them, or they'll be backwards compatible, or even better, they'll probably do remakes of those games. So it's not like these games are gonna be forgotten in time. Now the issue becomes, obscure, smaller titles like niche titles. Then yes, those are probably worth keeping. But then again, sometimes I look at my collection and I don't know, like let's say a obscure title, quote unquote obscure title. I don't know. Let's just take for example, Code of Princess for the Nintendo 3DS, right? I mean, if I sell that game, which I'm not going to, but let's just say I do that. I already played the game. I already beat the game. Realistically, what are the chances that I'm going to pick Code of Princess, let's say 10 years from now, and play that game? Chances are pretty slim. I already played the game. I already beat the game. I love the game, and it's probably one of those games that it will never get a re-release or a remake because it's very small, very obscure, very niche. A crowd of people liked it. So, 10, 15 years from now, am I going to realistically look at my shelf and say, Code of Princess, I'm going to play this game? I think it's highly unlikely, considering, 10, 15 years from now, I'm going to probably own the latest PlayStation product. I'm going to own the latest Nintendo product. I'm going to have newer games to play. And, that's just the reality of it. So, collecting and keeping games, is it really worth it? The collector in me says, yes, you have to do it. But realistically, you have to come to your senses and be like, am I really going to be playing these games that I already beat, again? Chances are, yeah, maybe some games, for example, Super Mario World, which is a very popular title. I play that game almost every year. I don't necessarily beat the game every year, but for example, this year I replayed it thanks to the purchase of the Super Nintendo Classic. I played Super Mario World again, and I beat the game again for the umpteenth time. And so there are some games that, yes, I do go back and replay them, but the amount of games that I replay, older games that I replay, it's very, very small, like maybe like a 1-2%. So, those are things that I have in consideration when going digital. And last but not least is these new services that both Microsoft and PlayStation are offering. I think the PlayStation service is called PlayStation Now, which is basically you pay a yearly fee or a monthly fee, and you can stream games. It's kind of like Netflix. And as of now, you can only stream PlayStation 3 games, I think. And for $100 a year or something, you can play a huge amount of PlayStation 3 games via your PlayStation 4 as a kind of like a streaming service. To me, that sounds very, very tempting to do that. And the reason why I haven't pulled the trigger is because one of my friends here on YouTube, Devil May Pie, he already told me he tried the service, and unfortunately it's not very good. There's a little bit of lag sometimes, and if there's a problem with the netcode, like if the game gets cut, if your internet has a cut or transmission, or it breaks up, then you lose progress in the game, instantly, which is a major issue, really. And I think Xbox Live is offering the same type of service. I think it's called the Xbox Game Pass. Right now they have a promotion where if you pay $1, you'll get a month subscription just to try the service out. And again, they have hundreds of 360 games in there, and even some Xbox One games in that library. So that's even more enticing. Like if they manage to polish the quality and the overall service, that's something that I will really look forward into next gen maybe, to be able to play older games as a streaming service. To me, that sounds pretty enticing, pretty tempting to do that. And by doing so, you can, or I can probably get rid of some of my older games on the PS3. I don't own any physical 360 games because I never had a 360. But it'll be a good way to just explore the 360 library without having to, buy the physical games from GameStop or something like that, which is something that I'm not doing anyways. That's one of the things that I like about my Xbox One. A lot of the 360 games that I have in there, they're all digital. I either get them from EA Access for free Either I get them from Xbox Gold for free, or I get them through sales for dirt cheap. So that's kind of like my digital console, the Xbox One. I have very few physical games for that system, but it's just a thought. I'm not saying I'm gonna go full digital yet, anyways. But it's something that it's on the back of my mind. The collector in me still wants to collect, have the physical media. Obviously, there are many advantages of doing that. But in my opinion, there are also many advantages of having digital-only games. I think the cons outweigh the pros, but it's something worth exploring and considering, in my opinion. So those are my thoughts on going digital. Not saying I will do it, but hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all later.